All right. Welcome to Wise Up on Air, hands on today. I'm joined by Bernard Rodrigue. Hey, Bernard.
Hello.
Good to see you today. Good to be working alongside you. I'm excited to unpack today the Wise Authoring API and Wise Authoring Query Language. Now that we've unpacked that acronym, uh, we're going to shorten it to WAAPI and WAQL. So, folks out there tuning in, when you hear us referring to these, uh, we'll be talking about the authoring application API and query language. So, Bernard, great to have you. Tell us a little bit about your role at Audiokinetic and a little bit about the inception of these tools that can supercharge the Wise workflow with developers.
Right. So I'm Bernard Rodrigue, software developer, director, user experience at Audiokinetic. We focus mostly on Wise experience, the Wise authoring experience, and a big part of the experience with Wise is about integrating Wise with other software. And part of this integration between Wise and other software is through WAAPI, and we'll talk about that today. WAAPI means Wise Authoring API. So it's a API for programmers to access Wise and all of the features that are available inside what we call Wise Authoring. So from the user interface to the project, through maybe the sound engine and playback system in the authoring, everything is accessible in WAAPI, and we'll talk a bit more about that today. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be great because we'll get a little bit of nuts and bolts programming, looking at the language and how to use it, alongside some great examples that are already in place, ways that people can take what's out there and apply it to their development today. So, uh, and we've done a couple of these before, and actually, I was throwing it back just before this to some of the first live streams here at Audiokinetic that you were part of. I'm switching to a slide where we sat with Benoit from the integrations team to do a hands on with some features. And you were riding along in the back, monitoring the chat, helping us out as we were just getting started with this live stream adventure. And it's just been great working alongside you during this town to carry the knowledge of developers to uh, the audience of wise developers out there. So, yeah, thanks for always playing a critical role in what we do here to carry the message outward to folks working with Wise.
Mhm.
Cool. Uh, so, how about a little preamble? Talk us through what we'll be going over today.
Yeah. So today we'll focus more about the new features in Wise 2023.1 that released a couple of months ago. But yeah, we'll go through an introduction to WAAPI, then go through the new features available in the new version, and in the last section we'll talk about also WAQL, which is the language to query the project. And yeah, we'll get in depth with the new features also in there. So get ready for some programming. And and also if you're new to WAPI, it's still the chance to get on board. We'll make it easy today, the most possible, and make it easy to understand. And I hope everyone gets how it works.
Awesome. That sounds perfect. And we'll have some resources sprinkled in throughout for folks who are just getting started or need an access point to the resources. Um, Also, if you're tuned in with us live, drop any questions into the chat. Let us know how it's going out there. Always happy to surface questions from the community to try and get the right information out there for folks. So, well, Let's go.
Let's get started.
Cool.
Okay. So today we'll be using mostly Python for the programming language to use with WAAPI, but WAAPI was made so any program, or we call it client application, can connect to Wise authoring through a protocol, and this protocol is accessible C++, C Sharp, Python, and JavaScript also, and also could actually be used in any application that also using HTTP. So very open, but we'll focus on Python today because it's maybe the most easiest language. So to get started, what we can do is go on the internet and search for WAAPI Python, and we'll get through the WAAPI client. The WAAPI client is this one. It is the Python package that you need to install in order to get up and running. So, and we'll also be using for this demonstration VS Code, which has already the Python extension installed. So if we go on this page on pypy.org, we have this Wise Authoring API client. And there's the command line here to install the client. So in our case, we're on Windows, so I'm going to type this on the terminal to get our Python WAAPI client installed. It was already installed on my computer, of course, so nothing is done here. But from this point, we're ready to start.
Great. And so the prerequisite here is really to have Python installed and
Yes.
then to use Python to get the WAAPI client installed.
Exactly. So on my computer, I have Python 3.10, but it works 3.7 and more recent. No problem. So on the left, I have VS Code. On the right, I also have Wise running. If we go back to the web page for the client, there's an example here that we can copy paste just to get started. So
Cool.
I'm going to create a new file over here. So let's call it Hello.py. So that's our empty Python script, and I'm going to paste the example. So one thing you need to make sure is to only have one Wise instance running. If you have multiple instances of Wise running on your computer, it might connect to the wrong one. So if you only have one, there's going to be no problem. So that's it. 3 lines of code. What is it doing? So it imports the WAAPI client from the module we just installed, then creates the client, and it does a call on a function called, in this case, getInfo. So getInfo is a very simple function. So let's run it to see a bit